Okay, but what's the other one?
From the look of it, that must be this region's apex predator.
This could get ugly. We better keep our distance.
Or we can observe from afar.
You can't!
Why? Why did it attack us? Did we do something wrong? There must be a reason, right? You're a hunter. You've got a weapon, and you do nothing? Give it to me, and I'll... Why won't you let me go? I want to go home! Give me my village back!
Is that monster absorbing its energy?
That doesn't look good. Shoot, 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 shoot! It's gone berserk. The village is doomed if we don't stop it. I'll find us a spot to lay low. I'm going too. We've got to get Nata out of here.
Got it.
I'll provide support for the time being.
Thanks.
What's good, everyone? It's your boy Dak908, aka the Dig Dug himself, and today, guys, we're going to be talking about Ray Dow. Now, Ray Dow, I'm gonna be real with you. I just thought Ray Dow was the flagship monster of this game because I didn't really pay attention to a lot of all the promotional trailers and artwork and all, so I didn't really check it. And then when the beta came out and then we got to fight, I'm like, yo, this is clearly, you know, that guy, but he's not. He looks like he could be one, though. When you look at him, he's a flying wyvern, which is that automatically fills up a lot of points on the bingo card right then and there. He's thunder. Again, more points on the bingo card. I'm looking to use an ogre, and he just looks cool. He looks very marketable. But with that marketability comes one thing I need to actually talk to you guys about. He's difficult. Not gonna lie to you. He's a flying wyvern who actually did exactly what Basil just did, which was made the flying wyvern category not stale. Believe it or not, there's not many flying wyverns in Wilds, so that further led me to believe that he was actually gonna be the flagship, but I don't know, he's not. Nevertheless, let's talk about what it takes to actually swing on Ray Dow. So Ray Dow, as cool as he is actually really weak to water and ice. Now ice we don't really have the weapon for yet, stay tuned for that, but water we do. Maybe you have one. Uthdana, if you made a weapon from him, then you'll be okay. With that said, he's not gonna make it easy for you, okay? He actually flies around quite a bit. He's really annoying when he does this, so I would recommend bringing flash pods, quite a few of them if you can. Bring those for sure, mostly because he does a lot of aerial combat. So there'd be a lot of attacks where he starts in the air. It'll be an attack, but he'll start the attack in the air and he'll bring it down. Now he has a ton of attacks to watch out for. He has the jump overhead slam, he has these raking attacks with his wing talons. He can shoot lightning from his rail cannon, if you will. Everyone called him the rail cannon wyvern. I remember when he first saw him in the trailer. He was like, yo, it's the rail cannon wyvern. He can shoot lightning with that in 3 different ways. He can shoot small bolts on the ground, he can shoot a large bolt on the ground, and he can shoot a large bolt in the air. The air and the ground, the large bolts, I guess it just really depends on what he's feeling. It doesn't necessarily matter how angry he is, but you don't want to get hit by this attack. It does insane damage. It's one of the ones you're going to have to do your best to watch out for. Granted, if you see him charge it up, it's not super hard to get out of the way because he laser focuses on one area when he starts it, and then that's where he discharges the attack at. However, if he does this attack and you did dodge out the way, you can get a free wounding attack on his face shortly after he releases the lightning bolt. So that's a great way to actually stack on a little bit extra damage if you can. His other attacks, like the overhead slam, they come in 2 variations. You have the standard overhead slam where he can do it on the ground. You have the big overhead slam where he flies in the air, does this big somersault, and then slams his wing talon down at you. That attack sucks. He will do it from different sides depending on actually where you are. So you can be facing left and he'll do it facing right, and it's a little ambiguous and kind of mess you up a little bit. He also has the uppercuts where instead of coming up and over, he comes down and up. Like same type of thing, but you know what I mean, like overhead slam, uppercut. You'll see. Anyway, these attacks, they kind of suck. They're kind of his bread and butter. They can be a little annoying to block. It can be a little annoying to dodge, especially if he does them in tandem with like another attack. Let's say he does lightning bolts and you're like dodging those or you're blocking those, and then he does overhead slam or he's doing the uppercut, and it's like, okay, now he's chipping me out. I'm getting to a range where my stamina bar is getting really low, and the next hit is probably going to break my stamina bar, and then I get hit for free. That's what he likes to do. There's other monsters in this game who like to do that too, but it's going to be a while before we talk about those guys. Nevertheless, these are the attacks you have to watch out for. There's some of his more common and more disrupting attacks. What I would do, I would try to figure out the tails that he actually has, notice what animations he does before he winds up these attacks, and then condition yourself so that way you know, okay, he's going to do this, or he usually does this after this, and I should dodge, or I should block this, or maybe I shouldn't block that, but I should totally dodge it instead. You know, the adapting part of Monster Hunter. So with all that said, after we adapted and smacked this guy around a few times, we are going to make gear. So let's take a look at what he has to offer. With Radow defeated, we can make his gear. His gear looks sick. I'm not sure exactly what the influence is for the gear. I will say it's definitely Asian of some sort, but it looks sick. So let's actually talk about the gear itself. So skills, most importantly, this guy gives us Constitution, latent power, and his set and group ability. So let's talk about Constitution. Don't look at these two up here. That's for the weapon. Constitution reduces stamina depletion when evading, blocking, or doing certain other actions. So for example, let's say you're blocking an attack. Let's say that monster hits you, and when you block that attack, you lose 20% of your stamina bar. With Constitution, given it's Constitution Stage 3, you will instead be losing 30% less of that stamina which you would have lost when blocking that attack. I'm not a math guy, so whatever that number comes out to be, that's what it does. It's a skill that I love using because I'm blocking all the time. As a Lancer, Constitution is one of my favorite abilities in the game, bar none. So it's an amazing skill to have, especially if you're being very mobile or you're blocking a lot. Latent power temporarily increases affinity and reduces stamina depletion when certain conditions are met. Now, let me say this. Those certain conditions is how much damage you as the player take. So once you take X amount of damage, don't know what that number actually is, it will pop up for you. And then you get the benefits of latent power. At level 3, we get a plus 30 affinity and reduces stamina depletion by 50%. That's huge. That's good. Like, level 3 ranks of this stuff, that's more than useful enough to me. I think 3 is the perfect starting number for latent power. Granted, getting latent power 5 is going to be really good because, you know, you get 50% affinity and even more reduction. So that's really good. But yeah, that's what it sounds like. Now, Radow's voltage, his set ability, is Thunderous Roar. It just extends the latent power time, which is pretty neat. So if you can get latent power to proc quite often with Radow's actual set ability, it'll be really cool. And Lord's Favor, Inspiration, we know what Inspiration does. If you play Hunting Horn, Melodies give you and everyone a bonus attack, or if you just have like a life powder, if you're not a horn user, use that and you're good to go. So the skills aren't too bad. They're actually pretty decent. They start coming together right around now in the game. Abilities start working together with themselves, that way it starts to all make sense, where you would see Constitution, latent power, and Radal's voltage. This is all stamina stuff. This is stamina and affinity, you know what I mean? And then you would build your set accordingly. So all in all, not a bad set. The weapons too, the weapons are pretty good. So the weapons have very decent attack, very decent sharpness, just decent all around. He's basically a flagship, even though he's not fully a flagship. So basically everything's pretty good. First instance into thunder weapons, so not bad at all. I like using them personally. There aren't a lot of monsters in the game that are weak to thunder, so it might not be your most used elemental type weapon, but it's still pretty solid. There's a couple of pretty significant monsters though that are weak to thunder, and these are going to be some really decent weapons to actually use for that, outside of maybe using the other thunder monster, but we ain't gonna talk about him just yet. Nevertheless, Radal stuff is pretty good, and I highly recommend making as much of it as you can. So to recap, Radal, Thunder Wyvern, Flying Wyvern if you will, he does stay in the air quite a bit. He can be a little bit annoying, and when he is staying in the air being really annoying, use the flash pod to bring him back down the earth. His attacks that he actually has that you need to watch out for is the overhead slam, the flying overhead slam, the heavy bolt, which is what I'm going to call the heavy rail cannon bolt. Like you see when it happens, like the screen gets dark when he starts doing it. He can do this in the air, he can do this on the ground, and his last attack you should watch out for is his uppercut. Now, all these moves can be dodged. They are all highly telegraphed, but they do a lot of damage, and he likes to combo other attacks with them to make it harder for you, the hunter, to avoid these attacks. Just be on the lookout for those things. Utilize as much of the terrain as you can to actually make it easier for you to fight him. Drop rocks on him, use traps. Don't use shock traps. It's not like he'll absorb them, but it doesn't work as long as like a pitfall trap would do. His main weakness is ice, but we don't really have ice right now. Maybe you do, maybe you don't, but for the most part, ice is going to be the biggest one. But if you don't have that, we have water. Uthdana is a pretty decent monster to actually have, actually a really good weapon to actually have if you haven't fought any other monster that have water yet. Balahara has water. I forgot about him. Pretty forgetful monster. Anyway, Uthdana, if you have him, it's going to be better than Balahara at this point, but if you don't have Uthdana, Balahara will serve you just fine. Water is his weakness. Use whatever you can to do whatever damage you can to him. He's a really tough fight, but he's very, very fun. The gear that he has is super solid. I love it to death. I love his gun. Like his light bow gun is actually really, really cool. I use it quite a bit personally. He's just a really good monster. This is one of the monsters where Capcom was like, you know what? I really, 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 really think they could have made him a flagship, but they decided to just have someone as likable as a flagship, but not actually be the one who is the flagship. But truth to tell, they might have actually considered him to be one at one point because, you know, once you beat the game, of course, you can understand why that was probably the case. Nevertheless, now we're just talking into the absolute nothingness. Just, I don't even know what the hell I'm saying anymore. Anyway, let's just wrap it up here. Radal, cool monster, a lot of fun, pretty difficult, not super difficult, but he's definitely like a good feeling monster. Once you beat him, you feel good about fighting him, and he's the kind of guy you can go back and fight multitude of times over and over again, and it's not really difficult to do. Kind of difficult, but not super difficult, and it's a fight you want to do. You get locked in real good. Nevertheless, make his gear. I think is actually really good, and that's all I got for you guys, because I'm rambling again. I'm sorry, one take is all you get, guys. You only get one take. But with that said, everyone, it's been your boy Dak908, aka the Dig Dug himself. Enjoy the rest of your day, have a good one, and may the Desire Center forever be in your favor.